Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life, and you will call it fate. At first, this sounds like just another philosophical quote. But the deeper you think about it, the more terrifying it becomes. Because Carl Jung was not talking about luck. He was talking about hidden psychological forces inside your mind that quietly shape your entire reality. Most people believe they understand themselves, but according to Jung, most humans barely know who they truly are. They know their name, their job, their routine, their public personality, but they do not truly understand their fears, their emotional wounds, their hidden insecurities, their unconscious habits, or the deep beliefs controlling their behavior. And because of that, people spend years living automatically, like unconscious machines. Wake up, check the phone, escape discomfort, repeat old habits, avoid difficult emotions, sleep, repeat. And after enough repetition, people begin calling this personality. But Jung believed something deeper. He believed many personalities are simply survival patterns, not the real self. Think about it. A child who constantly experienced criticism may become an adult terrified of judgment. A child who grew up ignored may become desperate for validation. A person betrayed in the past may unconsciously destroy future relationships before becoming vulnerable again. A person who secretly believes they are not enough may procrastinate forever, not because they are lazy, but because failing would confirm their deepest fear. This is how unconscious beliefs shape reality, silently, slowly, without permission. And the terrifying part is this: most people never realize it is happening. They simply say, "This is who I am. This is my personality. This is my luck. This is my fate." But Carl Jung would ask, what if your fate is actually your unconscious mind repeating the same pattern? What if your life is not controlled by destiny, but by unresolved fear? What if your future keeps repeating itself because your mind keeps repeating itself? This is why many people stay trapped for years, not because they lack intelligence, not because they lack potential, but because unconscious patterns create invisible prisons. And invisible prisons are the hardest to escape, because you cannot fight what you cannot see. Some people unconsciously fear success, because success creates pressure, responsibility, attention, expectations. So every time life begins improving, they sabotage themselves. Others unconsciously fear intimacy, because closeness once caused pain, so they push people away, then later call themselves unlucky in relationships. Some people fear failure so deeply that they never truly try, then blame life for their lack of progress. This is what Jung meant. The unconscious mind quietly directs behavior until behavior becomes identity, and identity becomes destiny. Most people think transformation begins with motivation, but Jung believed transformation begins with awareness, because awareness breaks automatic patterns. The moment you truly notice your behavior, you interrupt unconscious control. The moment you realize, I always quit when things become difficult. I always seek validation. I always escape discomfort. I always sabotage progress. Something changes. Because now, you are no longer unconscious. And awareness is dangerous. Because once you clearly see the pattern, you cannot pretend you do not see it anymore. This is why self-awareness is painful. Because truth destroys illusion. Many people avoid silence for this exact reason. Silence exposes patterns. Silence exposes fear. Silence exposes emptiness. That is why modern people are addicted to noise, music, scrolling, entertainment, constant stimulation. Because distraction protects people from self-awareness. A distracted mind never has to confront itself. But Jung believed growth begins the moment distraction ends. The moment you sit alone with your thoughts, without escaping, without numbing yourself, without running. That is when hidden truths begin surfacing. You begin noticing your fears, your emotional triggers, your jealousy, your anger, your insecurities, your addictions to comfort. And honestly, most people do not want awareness. Because awareness creates responsibility. Once you understand your patterns, you can no longer blame life the same way. You can no longer say, "I had no choice," because now you see the unconscious force behind your behavior. And this is where real transformation begins. Not when you become perfect, but when you become honest. Honest about your fear, honest about your weakness, honest about your excuses, honest about the version of yourself secretly controlling your future. Carl Jung believed every human has a shadow, a hidden side they reject. Your shadow contains fear, anger, insecurity, selfishness, weakness, hidden desire, hidden pain. Most people spend their lives pretending this darkness does not exist. But ignored darkness becomes dangerous. What you refuse to face eventually controls you. This is why some people explode emotionally without understanding why. Why some people destroy relationships repeatedly. Why some people stay addicted to self-destruction. Because unconscious pain always seeks expression. And if you do not consciously face it, it leaks into your life automatically. Jung believed powerful people are not people without darkness. Powerful people are people who understand their darkness. Because understood darkness can be controlled. Ignored darkness cannot. And maybe that is the true meaning of this quote. Until you make the unconscious conscious, until you understand your fear, your pain, your patterns, your hidden beliefs, your emotional wounds, they will continue directing your life silently. And because you cannot see them, you will call it fate. But maybe it was never fate. Maybe it was simply a mind repeating patterns it never understood. And maybe real freedom begins the moment you finally stop running from yourself. MindBite. The unconscious mind creates invisible chains. Awareness breaks them.